Today marks a year since at least 67 people died in the Wesgate shopping mall attack in Nairobi, Kenya. eNCA Group News editor Ben Said is in the Kenyan capital and he joins us now live. Ben, good morning today. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us. Today is a significant day. We remember those who died and also those fortunate enough to have survived.
That's right, Paul, good morning. In around 2 hours' time will be almost the exact moment that 4 gunmen stormed into the Westgate Mall and after a siege lasting 4 days killed at least 67 people. It's a day for reflection, a day for mourning in Kenya. I'm here in the Karura Forest, which is the first of 3 major memorials which will be held today to remember the victims of the Westgate massacre. There will be another one at the Westgate Mall in a couple of hours' time, and then this evening at the Nairobi National Museum there will be a big ceremony, and large portions of this nation, which is still very reflective as to what happened a year ago, I'm sure will be tuning in for that.
There have been at least 3 significant attacks since Westgate. Are Kenyans confident that security forces have the upper hand this time?
I think that to a certain extent they are. I think that they recognize that the Kenyan security forces have certainly disrupted al-Shabaab activities in this country through a series of raids, through a series of crackdowns, and they also note the Kenyan Defence Forces' successes in Somalia, disrupting the activities of al-Shabaab there. But at the same time, I think that there is concern that this threat is wide-ranging enough to Kenya, both here in Nairobi and in places like Mombasa, and that young Kenyans in particular are at increasing risk of being radicalized by al-Shabaab members here. And I think that there is a reflection on the fact that despite what's happened at Westgate a year ago, and despite the intelligence services and the militaries and the police's crackdown here, that there have been several attacks in the past year. At least 130 people have been killed. So even the police chief here yesterday was saying that Kenyans must be on their guard, that the threat is ever present, that the threat continues. And I think Kenyans are concerned that there may be future attacks ahead. Certainly in Nairobi, the security has been stepped up markedly in the past week. There are police with guns outside major embassies. There's security officials outside many apartment blocks, many shopping malls here, and many offices as well. So Kenyans certainly are concerned that al-Shabaab will make good on its promises of the last few weeks and months that it will attack Kenya again.
Ben, you were there during the tragic ordeal last year. What memories can you share?
Well, certainly, it was a tragic event in this country's history. We all remember the terrible visuals of dead and injured people coming out of the Westgate Mall in the hours after the attack. This really hit in the heart of Nairobi's wealthier districts. This really hit at Nairobi's wealthy and middle class in a way that hadn't been done before in this country, and so it was a game changer from that point of view. We also remember the Kenyan Defence Forces, the fact that the military was sent in to try and deal with these al-Shabaab terrorists, and that siege that lasted 4 days. That was, we remember the explosions, the gunfire that happened, and still today people are questioning whether it was right for the military to go in or whether it couldn't have been dealt with better by Kenyan special forces. So yes, a year on, the memories are still fresh, not necessarily so much for us as reporters, but for the people of Kenya, for the people that were involved that day, that were inside the Westgate Mall that day. I'd imagine that those memories are still fresh, and the past year has gone by in a flash, really.
Thank you so much for that update. That was eNCA Group News editor Ben Said, coming to us live from Nairobi.